Welcome to COMP444 Embedded Robotic Programming Unit 1. For this unit, I created 6 circuits using a potentiometer, tricolored LED, multiple LEDs, push buttons, a photoresistor, and a temperature sensor. I also did some extra circuits due to my curiosity in how they might work. With the first circuit I created, the potentiometer, I ran into some difficulties. First, I don't know if you can tell just looking at it what might be wrong. If you need more time, you can always pause, but I was stumped. I actually did multiple tests. I used my own code, and then I actually copied the library code. And then it ended up being my husband who looked over and told me my positive wire and my ground were in the wrong spot. I felt so silly, but it makes perfect sense when you look at the circuit. It needs to get power, and there was nothing connecting those other columns to the circuit. So once that was fixed, I had a completely successful run. The code was fine. It had just been those 2 wires. But I didn't stop there. I was also curious how I could use the potentiometer to affect the brightness of the LED. And in this case, it's a hard-coded flash. And next, for the next thing I had to do was how could I use the potentiometer to do both brightness and speed? And my husband helped me here a bit as well. So the next circuit was a tricolor LED. And the first tests were unsuccessful, and here you can see why. My resistors are not sitting in the breadboard very well, and I actually have to push on them with my finger to wiggle them. I just keep wiggling and then push harder, hoping that they'll actually stay in place. So one of the useful things about doing these tests was using some main testing methodology. So I actually had to take my code and actually test if the LED was even working in the first place, and I did that just by turning on each color separately, and then that's when I found out that one of my resistors wasn't in very well. But once I fixed that, it was a success. However, this is test 5 it's showing right now. While the test was successful before I recorded, the act of setting up the breadboard wiggled one of those resistors again. And if you look closely, you might be able to tell which one based on what color you're not seeing. And here is the code for the tricolor LED. As this is a video, if I'm going too fast, you can always pause it at any time and take a closer look. Next was the tricolor LED with the potentiometer, and it was successful. Except once again, you can see me pushing there on those resistors. And I'm happy to say that SparkFun does know about this problem, and their version 4 kit apparently remedies this by using resistors with thicker wire. So this was something they were aware of, having to wiggle those, to try to get them to connect properly. But once they are wiggled in place, as long as I don't jostle the unit too much, then I'm able to get all the different colors. It was just so much fun doing this. As I said, it's an extra circuit, but I had to try it. The potentiometer is so neat. And once again, there's the code, and you can always pause if you need a better look. Multiple LEDs. My daughter loved this one. And it helped that it was right around Christmas time when I was doing this. And it's just so pretty, the different patterns. And I made each pattern run 3 times just to make it a bit more noticeable. And then the other thing I was really happy about was I discovered that my Anchor battery can power this device. So I was really happy about that. It's just nice to know I have a battery so it doesn't have to be connected to my PC to work. Next was push buttons, and once again, this was successful, had no problems. You push one button, it's on. If both push buttons are pushed, it's off. It was very simple implementation. Next was photoresistor. I filmed this in a dark room, so it was a bit hard to tell the difference. However, you can actually see the numbers as they're scrolling change. And all I'm doing is I'm placing my finger on or off the photoresistor. The last is the temperature sensor. This one was also a bit fun. It was a very cold time in the office when I did this. I mean, it doesn't look that cold by the temperature, but I assure you, I was cold. But what I had to do was either place my finger on it to warm it up, or I would actually hold it and breathe hot breath onto it. And you could tell by those values earlier that it was working. Thank you so much for watching this. If you have any comments about anything that I can do to improve my circuits, please let me know. as I am a student and this is completely new to me. And once again, I just want to say that's one of the great things about this course is that everything you need to learn is provided to you in the hardware, but also in the books and the forums, the instructors, and the students.